Good morning, everyone. Or if you're joining me late, when the video first gets released at midnight, good late evening. This is the political tarot reading for Trump for Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. Yeah, let's see. 5 cards for today. What's be happening with him today? What will he be experiencing today? Be a better way to put that. Okay. Right there. Ruh-roh. Well, big changes, to say the least. They don't have the Ten of Swords, but the Nine of Swords is a much better. You know, of course, he has a tremendous amount of negative attachments, negative entities. You can call them hauntings, whatever you want. But as dark as this man is, he's got, I mean, it's like this all the time for him. So I think I think he's experiencing big energy changes, cognitive changes, and then maybe on another level, this is, maybe he's thinking about his mortality because the Pope has crossed over. Maybe he's thinking, oh, I might not live forever. And what about when I don't live anymore? Where do I go? All of those things. He's not sleeping at night. Okay, he's going to have to take a stand on some level. This is the theme for the day. He's not, he doesn't have his shit together because he doesn't have even, this might be one of those days where he actually does put on 2 different shoes, even though the same color, yeah, that kind of thing. Gee, what will he be having to take a stand about? Methinks it has to do with Russia. So, when the NPR puts out the proof, well, not the proof, but the verification that the data leak from remember the whistleblowers, Daniel, I can't remember his name, but anyway, the data leak that happened came from the National Labor Board, something or other. Now I think it's National Relations or National Labor Board Relations. I forget. NLRB. Yeah. So anyway, these 2 guys went on to Rachel Maddow's show. I think you guys have seen it. I've posted it in my post section, and it shows a spike. I think I talked about it yesterday too, but the big old spike of, I think, 10 gigabytes of data that went, somewhere, right? From their IP address via Starlink to a Russian IP address. So there's that. This is coming out, and they're talking about it. Now, also, there's all the protests that he's seeing all over the land, and he doesn't know how well that's going to go for him. And so he's just holding on. It's more greed. He's holding on for dear life. This 4 of Pentacles, well, let's look at all these on the health level. So death is ruled by Scorpio. So, we're talking body parts that I don't even want to think about in relationship with him. But on another level, we're talking, bladder, colon, those tummy issues plus all the, the genital parts. I don't think he's sleeping well, and I think he is having problems with those body parts, okay? And then he's not sleeping well because of his body that's aging and dying, but he's also not sleeping well because he's having to fight all of this information that's coming in. He's literally holding on for dear life. When it comes to health issues with the Nine of Swords, This is like carrying some, your own like personal hell realm within your body. And he's victimizing others, but he's also being victimized by his own darkness. Okay? This is, really intense anxiety. The Seven of Wands, on the health level, that's pretty much, heart, the things that help you get up and go, heart, brain, your whole spinal, column, all of that. It's also my card for strokes and dangerous fevers. So there's that. And I didn't allow for reversals, but had I allowed for reversals, and this one would, come in on that. Maybe I should start doing that next time. Just start spending the extra time to do that. But anyway, this card can be, burning yourself accidentally, or when it's reversed, it can be like giving up, and because you're so overwhelmed, and maybe you burn yourself, or maybe surgery is needed. It's not so good. Yeah. This one, the Nine of Swords reversed, is like major depression. The Death card, if it were reversed, this would be stagnation. I think we probably could read this card both ways, That makes sense to me. Because he's so resistant, there's so much resistance to change in his life that he has such, control issues. And that's further reiterated down here. Now, the Three of Wands on the health level, it does have to do with obstacles, but it can, because we're in the area of wands, and it's the Three of Wands, we're talking like the head, neck area, and, this is one of those cards for hair loss, and he is losing more and more hair as time goes by. He can't do the flip, he's not meeting in the middle anymore when he flips up the sides and then tries to flip it all back. He used to go like from one side to the other and in the front kind of flip it all back and then Aquanet, right? It's not working anymore. And so I think he's probably really depressed when he, tries to get ready every morning or wherever he has to, anytime. But anywho, Three of Wands, hair loss, inflammation, strokes, problems with the eyes, problems with the head, problems with the neck. Reversed, it's usually, actually upright or reversed can be a lot of, blood pressure problems, but just massive issues, major health issues there. So anyway, Four of Pentacles, then lastly what we're seeing there is straight up, it's, him wanting that control and stability and, to be secure. But, and it does relate on the health level too, because it's ruled by Capricorn. It's literally the sun in Capricorn. So it's, it could be a head cold. But usually it has to do with bones, like knee problems. It's also a card for eating disorders. It's like you're holding on to the things in your tummy, right? And things aren't moving through. So it's my card for, inflammation and, digestion, head colds, things like that. So, yeah. I mean, if the Ten of Swords would have come with the Death card, I would have been, whoa. But no, it was a Nine of Swords. And I have strict rules around that. So, but anyway, I'll do tomorrow, I'll write myself a note to start reading reversals. Or shuffling for reversals so that we can be a little more, so that I can be a little more, precise. Okay, here's the astrology. Now this is for political and for personal. I'll read it both ways. You can see the moon has moved into Pisces. And over the next, 2 days at least. It's going to remain in Pisces and come in and bring the public awareness and bring in our sensitivity and compassion as it hits all of these planets here. We are going to be in that realm of increasing what we care about with Ceres, what we value most with Venus. The path that we're on, the direction we're headed will be the most concerning. And then what is going on in government and who do I trust, right? So the next, so today and Thursday and into Friday a little bit, those are going to be the main issues. And as we're holding space for that, because, Pisces can be so much about energy that's all over the place, and our task is to take self-responsibility. That's what this Saturn transit in Pisces has been about for the last, oh my goodness, I think we've had it for 3 years. I can't even remember when it began, but it's been forever, and I do remember looking up how long it would take, and usually it's only 2.5 years. Sometimes less than 2.5, but this one, I'm pretty sure it was 3 years. Drop it in the comments if anyone knows when Saturn first began in Pisces and was in there solid, because it would have gone back and forth, a little bit into Aquarius, usually. So, but anyway, the big thing. Well, so we're in this holding pattern here of detours and disruptions to people in positions of power. I think this is the one that goes to the 23rd, if I remember correctly. And they're having to think, politically, these guys are having to think in different ways to try and stay in power. It's not working well for Elon Musk. He is being literally taken down all over the world. I think he probably only has friends in China and Russia at this point. I don't think any of the other countries like him at all. He's been, Germany, I think, has deemed him as, like Nazi, lover. So there's that. You can see we have today the sun is exactly square Pluto. So there's a lot of light and revelation being shown on people in positions of power. For us, this is our challenge to be in our own power and to network with kindred spirits and to hold fast, because the sun in Taurus is slowing things down, and we're holding. These are fixed signs. And Mars over here in Leo, like this whole, like the opposition that's going on, that will be exact Saturday evening Pacific time. So this is like the heightened opposition. Now, oppositions can lead to breakthroughs, but there are always major confrontations at both sides. So that's happening at the same time that Mars is squaring the sun. We've got that T-square that I was speaking about yesterday. It's even tighter today. And this sun square Pluto today is exact at 10:10 a.m. Pacific time. And it's also in conjunction with the aspect of the architect to the nodes. So the direction of life that we're headed, we don't want to be victimized. We want to be on our spiritual path. We want to come full circle, and we want to include other people. We don't want to be victimizing other people, because we're smart enough to know that right now it could be them, but later it could be me, kind of thing. First it's them, and then it's, oh no, right? So these are warnings about the victimization of immigrants that people are fighting against. And just like I knew it would happen, Rachel Maddow last night had all of the protests that happened over the weekend coverage, and she also had many newspapers and other media, usually considered mainstream. I don't know that I consider the New York Times mainstream because you have to pay for a subscription to their digital print. So anyway, so there's all of these what she considered media, just mainstream, reporting about the protests, which is a good thing because prior to that, it wasn't out there as much. She was covering it. A lot of other newscasters on MSNBC were as well, but not so much locally. But then again, too, we were seeing it out there. So I think it depends on, you look to see what you want to see, and then you'll find it. If you're waiting to just be fed, then you're not going to really see the truth, I don't think. It's that way with everything. If you want to be healthy and you buy something that's processed, you better damn well read those labels, or you don't know what you could be putting in your body that could really cause a problem. So, things like that. Now so that's the one aspect of the architect, and at the peak point up here, like the bucket of the handle, my friend Victoria Cleary said, "Hey, is that like the bucket of a?" And I'm like, "Dang, that's the best way to describe it." So, but with Pluto up here at the bucket of the handle, at the hinge point that is controlling the whole thing. Well, the nodes are moving around and controlling it too, but Pluto's being the slower moving planet is holding it in place for now. And it, like I said, it has to do with power issues, and it has to do with transformational issues. It has to do with bringing things up to the light. And it's all about humanity, of course, being an Aquarius. And then the past and the future, right? We're thinking about, I mean, literally, when it comes to history, we're looking at Trump's tariffs and his trying to take down not only Harvard, and they're suing him, but then there's also his attack on Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. And so our economy has gone back to, our stock market, I shouldn't say our economy, but it's falling too. I think it's lost like a third already. But our stock market is back to, they're calling it, Lawrence O'Donnell said, "Make America 1932 again." So reality sucks if you're ignorant and you just vote for the guy that seems like he's the billionaire businessman. Yeah, no. He has filed personal bankruptcy 6 times. He bankrupted a casino. Only a money laundering operation wants to do that. Otherwise you're just like the dumbest businessman on the planet, which he is. So anyway, and with all the facts are out there, these guys are going to have to, these people who are now like shocked that things are so bad, and maybe this guy isn't so smart after all, and maybe Elon isn't a genius after all. Yeah, maybe not. And they're going to have to dig back into the annals of history. Is that the right way to say it? I don't think so. But anyway, diving back in time will bring up all the news. It's all back there, right? And if things are taken away from the internet, there's always the Wayback Machine that people can look to. So there's that. And then the other aspect of the architect here is hinged upon Uranus. Now, these other planets, Neptune, I'm sorry, what am I saying? Venus, well, Venus is the personal octave. Venus is personal love. Neptune is spiritual love. But Venus, connects to money. Neptune is more unconditional love, sourced in unity consciousness. And then, of course, we've got Saturn in between, which is duality, Earth school, time-space continuum. But anyway, so these three, these head down to Mars, but these three right here, see these three little sextiles? They're connecting to, you can see Saturn, the North Node, and Venus, all at 26, 27 degrees. So with the North Node sandwiched in between money-oriented Venus and principles of compassion and sensitivity, and even if it doesn't have anything to do with money, people are thinking, this ain't right. Something ain't right. You don't do that to people. You don't just go snatching up people without due process. And you don't victimize women, and you don't, all these things that are so just wrong, they're having to reckon with Saturn there. And over here is the hinge point, and it's relying on Uranus, which can upset things really quickly because it can just flip. But it is there to help us wake up, because remember, like I've been saying, it's the change agent of enlightenment. And it's trine to the South Node until, like I said before, June 12th. And it's hearkening back to holding space for, the truth coming out. All of the information leaks. Everything, the Trump admin, Elon, everything that people do, it eventually comes out. So anyway, this will continue to, reveal changes to America's economy, and that's the deal. Now there's another important, this is an exact aspect in here, this inconjunct from the moon this morning to Mars. There will be adjustments, because people will be, so when we're in the first decan of any sign, that's 0 to 9 degrees, we're developing a foundation. Well, in Pisces, it's a normally it would be a foundation of compassion, of things that you can imagine and then work on creating. Or maybe you've already been working on something and creating a project, and you bring it full circle, right? But Pisces is also about the pure potentiality of what could be. And with Mars over here in Leo connecting, the adjustment is, okay, well, I know I have to speak up and work for it. And the issue really is, how do I create the life I want to live? And is it going to be there? Will there be a stable foundation with Saturn in the late degree of Pisces? Will there be a stable foundation in our government to work from? And with Trump in office, I think not. And so this is why other countries are not investing in our country anymore, especially if he's trying to, if he's levying huge tariffs on their country. They don't want to play. They don't want to have anything to do with that anymore. So there's that. Now the other tight orb aspect here is the sun connecting over to Jupiter, the sun in Taurus, so money-minded, stable, grounded, needing peacefulness so that you can be secure, and being faithful to your principles, is shining a light on decisions that need to be made. But the more we learn about the situation we're in, we may even start feeling, with all this Pisces energy up here, we might start feeling a little hopeless and helpless. But we have to decide what we are going to devote ourselves to, right? And that's why we need this little decision in here. I mean, this little aspect of indecision is kind of tense, and it's irritating. But we have to learn how to protect ourselves, basically, financially, to say the least. So yeah, I think that about covers it, actually. The only other thing I think to reinforce is that, so this, of course, is Wednesday. Tomorrow we're going to have Venus conjunct Saturn right here. See how Venus is at 26? It'll be hitting up Saturn exactly at about 5:07 p.m. Pacific. So, you know, again, we're talking money and the government and the limitations of our finances and our wealth and our well-being. With Trump in the White House, it is definitely a problem. And tomorrow we're going to have some semi-squares so we've got the one here from from the Sun to Jupiter. So Jupiter is going to be at the crux, and then over here tomorrow we're going to have another one to Mars. So that brings in the spotlight of action after we learn something. So I'm wondering if Thursday is going to be some more info leaks and more people get to decide what's true for them. So, but anyway, that's all I have for today. As always, take good care of yourselves, and sending you lots of love. Bye.